A bad night for progressives, and the squad is now down one member. CNN projects New York Congressman Jamal Bowman will not be reelected, losing the Democratic primary to George Latimer. One issue that took center stage in this primary, the Israel-Hamas war. Bowman accused Israel of genocide and faced backlash for it. This race really highlighting the deep and growing divisions within the Democratic Party over that war and conflict. CNN's Eva McKend has much more on this race. She's joining us now. Eva, what are you hearing about this result this morning?
You know, though Congressman Bowman had some well-reported political vulnerabilities, Kate, going into this contest, his loss really underscores that the progressive movement still faces an uphill battle in Washington. Despite voting with President Biden more than 90% of the time, Bowman was really portrayed as someone who was no longer in sync with the White House or his district. That amount of money poured in from the pro-Israel lobby to negatively define him was quite significant. A super PAC linked to the American Israel Public Affairs Committee dumped around $15 million. That's more than any outside group has ever spent on a House race, and ultimately was too much for him to overcome. And Bowman had a well-resourced and well-positioned opponent in the Westchester County executive who ultimately prevailed. Let's listen.
Now, our opponent, may have won this round at this time in this place, but this will be a battle for our humanity and justice for the rest of our lives.
You are included no matter what your demographic is. Doesn't matter your age, color of your skin, your religion, sexual identity, whether you're a right-hander or a left-hander, whether you're a Met fan or a Yankee fan, well, and our inclusiveness in Westchester County is how we have governed.
Now, Bowman was the district's first black congressman. All eyes now turn to Congresswoman Cori Bush in St. Louis, who famously slept on the steps of the Capitol to call attention to the plight of housing insecure people during the pandemic, and if she will be able to withstand a similar challenge from the pro-Israel lobby later this summer.
And in Colorado, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert has survived her Republican primary challenge. CNN projecting that Boebert will win her crowded primary in Colorado's 4th district. The MAGA firebrand barely won re-election in her current district in 2022. She opted to run in a seat being vacated by Republican Ken Buck instead. Joining me now to discuss, Farnoosh Amiri, congressional reporter for the Associated Press. Farnoosh, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Look, I want to start with the New York race because this was one where we saw very intense campaigning over the weekend. Jamal Bowman had been joined by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is a very unique district in that it encompasses some of the wealthiest, frankly, less diverse places in Westchester County, New York, with some lower income areas in the Bronx. And that sort of covers the divide, or some of the divide that we see in the Democratic Party itself. What's your reporting on kind of how this is playing and how representative it is of the broader kind of back and forth in the Democratic Party right now?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think there's a number of factors that led to Jamal Bowman's loss last night. Obviously, you know, the amount of money that was funneling into this campaign, to this race. You know, AIPAC spent more than nearly $15 million on this case. Focusing on Jamal Bowman's comments about Israel, his criticism of the country's handling of the Israel-Hamas war. But more specifically, like you mentioned, I mean, his district has changed since he won in 2020. And it has become more white and less black, and it's covering more of that high-income Westchester County than it is the parts of the Bronx that really helped propel him to office. But more than that, I think, you know, Jamal Bowman was seen as a vulnerable candidate for centrist Democrats hoping to go more to the moderate side to be able to, you know, talk to the constituent base that wants folks who are not, you know, more outspoken, who are doing the job. And one of the things that Bowman, you know, has been criticized for is his losing touch of the district, right? Mm-hmm. Not spending as much time out talking to folks, focusing on issues that impact his constituents, and more time on some of what what people call culture war issues, as many have seen.
He also pulled the fire alarm,
Also pulled the fire alarm, yeah.
which I still don't fully have my head around.
Yes,
but,
none of us do.
Anyway, so turning to Colorado, let's hear a little bit of Lauren Boebert's reaction last night when she found out she was going to win. Watch.
We are going to have a fantastic night of victory, and it's not over. President Trump needs us now, more than ever, to get him in the race, in the fight, in the White House, November 5th.
So she also alluded to, in her victory speech, social media, what people would be seeing on their phones about her, because part of why she was in so much danger and why she had to switch districts was because she was thrown out of a musical for vaping was the official reason for her getting the boot. But there was some lewd behavior involved also. But it's clear, I mean, the lesson that I learned from this, I mean, she's winning in a place that she's not from, under circumstances where, you know, I've spoken to members of Congress who suggested that Ken Buck bailed out of his seat a little bit early so that there would be someone else appointed so that he could give that person an edge over Lauren Boebert.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the social media famous face has won out.
Yeah, I mean, we can't understate how much switching districts helped her. I mean, we saw how close her race was in 2022. You know, Democrats really saw this as a pickup for them if she would have stayed in her district. So she took the politically, you know, more advantageous decision, and she talks about it. And you know, she said last night, you know, the district might be different, the region might be different, but the values are the same. But it's very clear she saw what was coming and she did what was politically advantageous for her.
What are her alliances in Congress like right now?
Yeah, she's interesting because I was going to make a parallel with her and Bowman, but in a lot of ways, she's taken like a back seat. She wasn't part of the 8 that voted to oust McCarthy. You know, she has not been the ones who have been pushing the motion to vacate like her former friend Marjorie Taylor Greene has. She's been more of her controversies have come more from what she's done outside of Capitol Hill than what she's done on Capitol Hill, which is
That's
a
an interesting way to think about
very different Boebert than we saw when she first came to office.
Yeah, well, and that falling out, because in the beginning, she and Marjorie Taylor Greene were like inseparable. They were together. I mean, I remember watching them together on the floor during one of those early Trump States of the Union, and then suddenly that seemed to break apart. I mean, what happened there?
I think, you know, from people I've spoken to, there seems to be not enough space for two MAGA darlings, right, in the Republican conference. There is, you know, they came up seeing themselves as like-minded, being able to build a space for themselves in this conference that is obviously very male-dominated. But then as time went on, they realized that there can only be one, you know, spotlight. And obviously Marjorie has taken over that in a lot of ways.
Very interesting. Farnoosh Shamiri for us this morning. Farnoosh, thank you.
Yeah,
Always really appreciate having you.